So a couple of days ago, I had this tweet come through my Twitter feed, and it was Raising My Super Kids said, please review our Kickstarter campaign. And so I said, okay. I took a look at it, and so I looked at it and I responded. I said, interesting concept. It reminds me of the old school Tamagotchi. So if you guys remember Tamagotchi, it was like this little keychain pet thing that you would do. Basically, you would feed it and make sure it was taken care of and clean up its poo and stuff, and take care of it and actually like raise it to maturity, and then it became like a whole other thing. Anyways, so didn't think very much of it, just said, hey, it looks like Tamagotchi, maybe a little bit more complex. And JC Lee, who happens to be the daughter of Stan Lee, tweeted back to me. So she said, food for thought, thank you, JC. And then she followed me, which is pretty cool, I have to say. So I think that I owe them a little bit more. So let's go over and look at the actual Kickstarter campaign here. So it's Raising My Super Kids, which is going to be a mobile social game. So you're going to be able to talk to other people that are playing the game, of course. You'll be able to raise a super kid who will get their superpowers at like age 1 after a year of actually raising them. So it's kind of like Monster Rancher or one of those types of things, as I understand it. For only $5, you can get in on the beta, so that's probably the backing level that I might go with. I've got a lot of pans in the fire personally right now, but there's a lot of course, other things you can do. I'm not sure what the monetization is going to look like for this game. Obviously, they're trying to make some money for charity, as I understand it. So hopefully they will do things properly, and so like they'll have either pay to accelerate, and we won't do a pay to win system, something along those lines. They don't really talk too much about that. They just talk about what the game's going to be like to play, and so the only thing I would caution them is make sure that they don't try to sell power or do any of those typical things, because their audience will become much more limited then. Of course, after at certain backer levels, you can get autograph stuff signed by JC Lee, who is Stan Lee's daughter. I'm not a big comic book fan. It's actually, when I talk to people, I say that comic books are my nerd weakness. However, I do know a thing or two about raising kids. I have 3 boys, as a lot of you know, and when they come on my broadcasts or things, sometimes they're a little bit uncontrollable, and we have some issues, and so I have to get them to be quiet. So I've made a list of a couple of things that we should do in this game to make it more realistic from a father's perspective. Now remember, I only have boys, so I can only talk from this perspective. So first things first, crying, uncontrollable crying and screaming. Zachary, don't scream. You have to know that when you have kids, you just can't control when they're going to scream and cry, and that is something that definitely needs to be in the game, especially in the infant years of having your kid. Yeah, you just can't control it. It needs to be really annoying, and yeah, that should do. Next thing is potty training. This is a big deal, especially for boys. I'm told that girls are a little bit easier. We're still actually working on it with our oldest. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of different avenues you can go down with that one. But yeah, I imagine potty training a super kid probably going to be kind of a big deal, especially when you finally get them to go by themselves. Next one, my youngest son hates the darkness. I know this because when we would turn off the lights, he would cry uncontrollably. So we had to turn on the lights. Now it could be like an aspect that you give some of your kids, like certain ones. It's like he hates darkness. Maybe he has like the fire ability or something like that. So my middle child.
1, 2. One.
Is it scary, Joshua? Is it scary? Doesn't wear pants. He doesn't want to wear pants. He takes them off all the time. That should be a thing. Just saying. I've seen the thing that Dana Carvey did, where his kids just didn't want to wear clothes at all. So I mean, obviously we got to keep it PC, politically correct there, but I think it's pretty funny. I'm sure there are a lot of kids that go through that phase. So yeah, they should include that. And finally, last but not least, my oldest son has destroyed a lot of things, and so that needs to be a part of the game. The fact that your kids destroy stuff. In fact, there should be some sort of like monetary thing where like you're making money and you have to put that money into certain things, and you know, to grow your kid, but then you end up like paying that money to like fix all the furniture in the house. Like, that should be a thing, because we've got torn up furniture, and my son's toilet had 5 cell phones and destroyed 2 thermostats, and yeah, he's the destroyer. Also, just having one kid, I'm just gonna fall back on Bill Cosby right here. Having one kid and having to deal with one kid, that's not really parenting, according to Bill Cosby. You gotta have at least 2, because then you miss out on so many things when you only have one kid. Like, if something's broken in the house, quoting Bill Cosby, you know who did it. So there you go. Like, you know, you log in, all of a sudden something's broken, you know you only have one kid, one super kid, so you know that they pretty much broke it. You know, there may be some little bit of deduction or something. Like, if you had 2 different super kids and one of them's like fire powered and the other one's like ice powered, then, you know, you might look and be like, oh well, it's burnt to a crisp, so obviously it's the fire kid. He's gonna have to go into timeout right now. So just some ideas on this game. Should be pretty good. Looks pretty interesting. Nice casual game you can play when you're watching TV or something, and you'll be helping charity out, so why not do that? So that's pretty much my take on it. Let me know what you think. If you guys want to post some comments below, make sure to get out there, check out the campaign. It is on Kickstarter. It is called Raising My Super Kids. It is actually copyrighted, it looks like, and it's a mobile social game. So until next time, this is Aaron Squire signing off, saying God bless you and your families. Trying to raise too much out there.